So hey everybody, Tony here, Ai2 Products. We are going to do a kind of an overview video of the 50-inch dirt bucket because that kind of gets not really a lot of attention. Let's get to it and we'll see you on the other side. Now that I'm standing here, this is a unique scenario right now because you've got a lot of buckets sitting here right in our face. We got the factory bucket here that we took off of this 80 series. So this is the factory bucket with the quick attach on it. And we set it on the scale just to kind of see how heavy it is. So we are at 226 and a half pounds with this setup. And we'll see we'll put this 50-inch bucket on there on a quick attach and just kind of see what the weight difference is. It'll probably be close, but I think this is going to be a heavier setup. But we'll get to that here in a little bit. But we've got a factory Gen 1 bucket off of a BX 2200. And then, of course, we got the factory bucket off of all your Gen 2 machines have this exact same bucket on my tractor. And then we've got the 50-inch bucket. And then if you have a Gen 3 machine, an 80 series like this with a pin-on bucket, it's basically this same bucket with virtually the same mounts. They just upgraded the mounts to work now with the kickstand feature. But so yeah, it was just kind of odd that we're standing here amongst all these buckets. Wasn't really the intent, but it's just the way it worked out. And this is also a pretty unique situation because we converted this 80 series from that skid loader hitch to my quick attach, and then he's going to now run my 50-inch bucket. And this is a customer of mine that had a 2660 model. He's had previous, actually I think he started out with a 2200 series, then to a 2660, and now he's got this 2380. But he had a light material bucket and pallet forks and a couple other things, and he didn't want to have to switch everything over. He wanted to stick with this. He likes this quick attach. It's lighter weight than the factory one, and it doesn't require him to change everything now. He could keep all his attachments and still run this system. So we're going to kind of go over this bucket and go over the features of this thing. And it's basically a replacement for that. These actually on the inside, they're called a 48-inch bucket. They're 48 inches if you measure from the outside of the cutting edge. On the inside, they're actually like 47 inches, so they're just shy of 48 inches, or they're just right around the 47 inches on the inside. They work pretty good. The cutting edges are kind of the weak point on these things. They're just a standard. They're a 3/8 inch cutting edge by about 3 inch, and they just tend to wear out. You can kind of see on this one, this is a factory cutting edge, and you can see people refer to that smile that they get. So they wear out on the edges here like this, and you can see how this one's wearing out, but it stays more solid in the center. Why that happens, I'm not exactly sure. I think in my theory is because when you're digging, a lot of times one corner or the other is hooking, so it's pulling the loader kind of one way or the other. And I've noticed too on these 80 series loaders, there's a lot more movement of the loader than on the previous versions. This loader, when you load it down, it'll shift back. When you unload it, it shifts back forward. So it's moving around side to side and front to back a lot more than these did. Because these, you obviously got this big pin in place, and once they're in, they don't really move around. They pretty much stay in place. Where these, I've just noticed they do move around quite a bit for whatever reason. So that causes, when you're digging, that loader will kind of shift this way or that way. It kind of moves around kind of goofy. And I think that's what causes our cutting edges to wear off even faster. But, and these run the same cutting edge, other than they come with holes in them now. That's something new on the 80 series. They put holes for bolt-on cutting edges. So you can put those on so you don't wear out your factory one, and you just wear out the bolt-on one and then replace it as it wears out again. The 50-inch bucket that we build is made out of the same material. It's a 12-gauge shell, but we use a 1/2 inch thick cutting edge, and it's 4 inches deep, versus a 3/8 inch cutting edge, and it's 3 inches. So we'll put it on the tractor here in a little bit so we can get to the bottom side of it. But then we put on these 1/4-inch side plate gussets, so the side of the bucket and the leading edge of the bucket are all very beefed up and will handle. You'll see a lot of the factory buckets where the ends of them are all bent up and tore up from whatever, banging into something, tying chains to them. Well, who knows what they're doing to them, but they get beat up quite a bit. This bucket's a little deeper and it's a little taller and it's a little wider. So it's actually 50 inches on the inside, and I think it's overall like 51 is the overall width from the edge of the cutting edge to the other edge of the cutting edge. And then this bucket also has holes already in place for bucket hooks. That's what these pair, you got 1, 2, 3 sets of holes. So if you want to put factory bucket hooks on there, or put bucket hooks on there, you just bolt them right on, and then you don't need those extra shims like you do on the factory bucket. And you can see here on the factory bucket, that's why you need them shims, is because this lip, we put that 1-inch plastic spacer in there just to get the hook up so it's above that lip. This is the top of the bucket. And this bucket has more capacity than this bucket does. So when you are moving snow, you know, or doing mulch or anything bulky, it will handle a little bit more capacity. Plus, on this tractor, or not this one, I've used it on my tractor, and you can fill it full of dirt, and it does actually, it will pick it up. It still has enough, still enough lift in the loader to handle this thing full of dirt. So on the back side, you'll be able to see that we have the mounts that we use on this is actually the exact same mount that gets used on the light material bucket, the 60-inch light material bucket. So this is the same mount configuration. You know, we use this tube to help with any twist in the bucket itself, so it holds the bucket nice and straight, so when you are digging, the bucket's not kind of twisting and rolling a little bit, which it probably wouldn't anyways, but this just gives that little added security. Plus it makes a really cool place to put decals, you know, you gotta have that. So you can have those cool decals on there. But, and then we also gusset the bottom down here. You can notice where the mount comes down and hits that break point right there. And this is really your strongest point, because where that break is obviously much stronger. But this mount here, and we'll put it on the tractor and bring it up so you can see it. It just helps spread that weight out more, or the load on that thing. So you're not pushing all that pressure into those 2 points right here. It just spreads it out across that whole area. And then we got 12 gauge side plates, and then we've got 1/4-inch wear pads that weld to the bottom of this one. But hey, let's hook this thing up quick. I'll show you how I hook these things up. Kind of a good demonstration, because then you can kind of see, it's almost like a quick attach demo, but yet it isn't. We'll fire this beast up into her. So you can see here, I kind of roll up to it, which I said, and I stand up. And if you push real lightly on the pedal, you can roll ahead and it won't kill the motor. All right, oops. Go get into her. There, now I pick it up like that, roll into it. That seems to work the best. I think Angie got that on camera. We'll drop these pins in so the bucket don't fall off when we roll it ahead. But now you can kind of see how this all goes together. But that's kind of the recommended way that I do it. We'll get it up in the air so you can kind of see the bottom of that. So now you can see the bottom of this. So we've got our 1/4-inch wear bars that we weld in here. You know, there's 4 of these things. And then actually they butt up to the very bottom of the cutting edge. So actually this surface and this surface are on the same plane. So when you are using this bucket, you are wearing on these and not on the shell for the most part. I mean, obviously you're going to wear a little bit on it, but the bulk of the force is all put on these. And that's how the bigger buckets are built. When you go into your heavier equipment bucket, heavy equipment buckets or even your larger compact tractors, they put wear bars in the bottom. Definitely your skid loader buckets have these wear bars on them. And then this also is like an edge protector. So when this comes out to the very edge of the cutting edge, so if you do something where you smack into the side of the, where you're hitting the side of the bucket, you're actually hitting this and not your bucket shell, where the other ones don't do that. I mean, you look at the bucket down here and there's nothing. The cutting edge comes out and this is all exposed, and you can see how this is getting all ground up here. See how that metal is flaking up here? And this tractor has 76 hours on it. So that's 76 hours of use on the tractor itself. So obviously the bucket hasn't been used for 76 hours, but the tractor only has 76 hours, and this is how much wear you're seeing on this bucket already, just in that little bit of use. But that's this, there's nothing under here. If you look at that, the side of the bucket, there's about that big a gap. So whenever you're dragging, this thing is dragging on the ground and it's rubbing that all off, and it's basically it'll grind away at some point and you'll be wearing right into the bottom of the bucket. This doesn't have that. The bucket, our side plate comes flush with the bottom of the bucket. This gets welded on here, and all your wear is done right on this point right here. So your bucket shell or your side plate does not get any wear on it. And then of course we've got our nice heavy duty gusset on the side of this thing that helps keep that bucket shell nice and straight, or that side plate nice and straight. But the biggest thing is these wear bars on the bottom. And our 60-inch light material bucket has actually the exact same wear bars, but they're just longer. Because this bucket is basically a scaled down version of the 60-inch one. I just took the 60-inch bucket and scaled it down to this size. So it's the same basic profile, just smaller is all it is. And then this also has a, what do you want to call that? Spill guard. That's what it is. I'm like, what the hell is that thing called? Spill guard that can go on this one, which I don't have right now. I just sold the last one I had here the other day to a guy that bought one of these buckets. So I probably do have some pictures. We'll put a picture on in the video that shows that. So you can at least see what it looks like. But that's what these extra holes on the top of the bucket are for, is for the spill guard to bolt into. We'll put this down a little bit so you can kind of see. Here, all the way across. These are your spill guard mount bolts, or mounting holes. But as you can see now, this is an 80 series with the Ai2 quick attach and an Ai2 50-inch bucket. Pretty freaking cute, I think, don't you, Angela? Yeah, it makes for a nice looking tractor. I say it's kind of a rare, I don't see too many people taking a skid loader hitch off and putting this setup on, because if you got the skid loader hitch, you're probably going to run it, unless you're running super weight sensitive stuff where you need every extra pound you can get on here. But what we can do, we'll drop this bucket off and get that bucket off the scale, and then come back and we'll see what this thing weighs with a quick attach and everything, and just see what the weight difference is. Yeah, what gain, I'm guessing there's going to be a gain in capacity with this configuration versus that, but we'll find out here in a second. So hang tight, we'll be right back. So hey, I took that factory unit off. Don't go to the weight yet. We took the factory quick attach, or that was the skid loader hitch, and that factory bucket weighed 226.5 pounds. So now we've got our 50-inch bucket and our quick attach on there, and we are at 187.5 pounds. So 226.5 minus 187.5 equals 39 pounds exactly. So there's a 39 pound, so we'll round it to 40 just for simplicity. 40 pound, you'll have 40 pounds more capacity with this setup versus the, oh, that's right, I put it on that pallet over there, versus the other setup, the factory skid loader hitch and factory bucket. Now, is that a lot of weight? Yeah, at the end of the day, it's not a ton, but when you're only dealing with 550 roughly pounds of lift capacity, another 40 pounds percentage-wise adds up quite a bit. So it does give you some more capacity. Plus you've got a bigger bucket than what you had on the other one. So this is a bigger bucket, but it's lighter weight with the full combination. This bucket is actually heavier than the factory bucket, but the quick attach is half the weight. This is a 50-pound quick attach. I think it's 51 exactly, with the pins and everything in it. So that, but you have a 100-pound skid loader hitch, and I think that bucket, well, it'd be about 120 pounds because the hitch is 100 pounds. So that factory bucket's about 120, 130 pounds is what the difference is. And they did lighten that bucket up. They made it, it's a hair smaller. I think we got that in that Gen 1 or the 3 generation videos, our video. But so it's a slightly smaller, but it's not as deep, but it's taller. So it's probably similar capacity, but it does seem like a smaller bucket to me. But you can get these extra added features and still have more capacity is what we're after. And this bucket is popular with more what I'd call the pros, you know, your landscapers and your guys that are actually kind of making a living with the tractor. Your average homeowner doesn't typically go for this type of thing, because a factory bucket on the average homeowner like this bucket will last as long as you're going to have it in that scenario. But the guys that are out digging with these every day, you could see on that other one after 76 hours how much wear was already on that factory bucket. So imagine these guys that are putting a couple hundred hours a year on the tractor, if not more, digging holes, backfilling holes, you know, constantly using that tractor every day. When the weather's good, they're out every day using that tractor. So they tend to wear them out, and they want the extra capacity and they want the extra features of this. So then they can justify the expense, because they wear out a bucket fairly quickly. You know, probably within the first year to maybe 2 years, their factory bucket's already wore out. Where this one will outlast that factory bucket by quite a bit. And then we also, this one doesn't have it right now, but it's gonna there'll be holes in there for a tooth bar that we're gonna be coming out with. And I'm gonna basically make it match the holes that are on the new factory bucket. So that way that tooth bar will be interchangeable with either bucket. It'll just be a hair narrower for the factory bucket, but a hair wider for this bucket. We're going to see if we can figure out a way to make it work the same one on both. We'll have to see what we can come up with there. It might end up being just a hair wider on that and a hair narrower on this, however because it'd be nice if you have one for both. And then that tooth bar will also be a reversible tooth bar. So you can flip it around one way just for a straight replaceable cutting edge, or you flip it around the other way and you'll have your tooth bar option. So it'll go both directions. But that's coming here hopefully this spring. I just got to finish it up so we can get it out. But so to wrap this all up, if you have any questions on any of this product or any other product, and also what I've been forgetting to say is, you have any recommended videos that you would like to actually see us make in the future about either a product or something with the tractor, you know, have any questions I can do a video on that would pertain to something about the tractor, about the product, or even another product, say it's a tiller or whatever it may be, you know, let us know. We'll see what we can come up with or see what we can track down and make it happen. But if you have any other questions on any of the product, this one specifically, give me a call here at 320-331-1055. Check us out on our website, bxattachments.com. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit the like button, and hit the notification button or the little bell on the bottom of the page here so you can get more of our latest videos. Check us out on our Facebook page, either Ai2 Product or the Ai2 Products Facebook page or the BX Network group page. And if you, my email, tony@bxattachments.com. That's usually the best way to get a hold of me. Otherwise, leave me a message and I'll call you back. Anything else? Thanks for watching and have a great day. We'll see you later.